Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. So glad you were able to join us this evening. I'm going to give you all just a few minutes to come in, get relaxed, grab your favorite beverage. Also, why don't you grab a notebook or grab your computer so you can begin to take notes? I'm so glad you're here. For those of you I've not had an opportunity to meet, I am Lonnie Phillips and I'll be your host today. So come on in. We have a special guest. We have a special guest in the house. I'm so excited. Hi, John Paul. Thanks for joining. Always love having you join. You having a great day? Hi, Peter. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. Come on in, get relaxed, grab a notebook. I've got a treat for you tonight. I've got a treat. So I know many people are just going to be joining us. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes and allow people to join. And then I will introduce our guest. Awesome. Yes, I am doing well, John Paul. I'm glad you're here as well, Peter. Yes, I know a lot of people planning to join. They're probably just having dinner in some locations. Hi, John Hudson. How are you? Hi, Don James. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. Hi, Leslie. Welcome, welcome. Really glad you're here. Oh, I've got a treat. Hi, Pooja. So glad you're here. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. We're going to give it a few more minutes. We're going to give it just a few more minutes. Where is everybody today? What city are you in? Type it in for me. I'm sitting here in Houston, Texas today. Where are you? Good evening, Doreen. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. Grab your favorite beverage, grab a notebook, or grab your computer. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to maximize the entire time we have to be able to talk about someone that I just find incredibly talented, full of wisdom, and I want to share her with you tonight. But I want to welcome you. Hello there, Shanisa. Okay, Dallas, Texas. I see you out there. Mammoth Lakes, California. I see Wisconsin. Houston. Hey, Don in Houston. Seattle, Washington. Sacramento, San Jose. Port of Spain, Trinidad. Oh, I'm so glad to see you out there. Welcome, welcome. So we are really getting a number of you out there. So welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm going to go ahead. Dr. Laura, how are you? Welcome. So glad to see you out there. Awesome. So let's get started. First of all, welcome to Modern Mentoring. I'm Lonnie Phillips. I'll be your host. I know you could have been anywhere today, but you chose to spend an hour with me and my special guest. And I want to say thank you for that. Thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge that, many of you know, and some of you may be first timers, that I started out doing this as an experiment, but we're no longer experimenting. We're now having to be real intentional around setting up an actual curriculum of people that I want to introduce you to, topics that I want to cover. You've helped shape a lot of that content. And I want you to know I am super committed to keeping this going and creating that community where you can actually have a real authentic conversation about how to navigate this thing called corporate America, how to navigate life. And, we are right now having to juggle. How do we navigate both at the same time? So I want you to know I'm committed to being on this journey with you. I'm also going to look to do even more things as we're moving out of the pandemic and we're going to move into this hybrid work environment and we can begin to travel a little bit more. I'm hoping to do more things and maybe even connect with some of you in person in the future. So stay tuned for more. But with no further ado, I have to introduce someone that I've been so excited. I tell you, when she said yes, she would do this conversation with me, I was really tickled because this woman that I'm about to introduce you to, her name is Gina Lofton. She's the Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft Corporation in the US. I had an opportunity to meet Gina when she joined us a little over 20 months ago. She came in from IBM, and I didn't know her at IBM, but I did get a chance to meet her at Microsoft. And I must tell you, when you meet that person and you feel like instantly there's a connection, and you also say, all right, this is going to be a member of my forever tribe. This is a person who's going to be a member of my forever tribe. And you'll hear more about our relationship, but I do not want to take away from all the accolades she has behind her name. So let me read her bio so I give her total respect. So Gina is our Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft in the US. She's also a thought leader with a track record for successfully helping enterprises put innovation into practice to deliver shareholder value and also business value. Gina currently leads a team that helps customers reimagine their business, achieve successful outcomes, and delivers on the promise of digital transformation across their enterprise. And throughout her career, Gina has been recognized for accelerating profitable business results and building diverse, high-performing teams. Now, Gina was also most recently recognized as the Elite 100 in corporate America. So please go follow her on LinkedIn. But you want to know something super special? Gina and I were talking, and I said, Gina, what award are you most proud of? And you know what she told me? She told me it was the award she got in the third grade. She was awarded from her friends. It was the Proper Award. I said Proper Award. And she got the Proper Award because Gina, like most kids, we all have something we had to overcome. Well, Gina had a cleft palate, and so she was challenged to use or speak certain words. So she went to a lot of speech therapy. She overcome her speech impediment that she had, and she was actually speaking very proper English, and her classmates wanted to celebrate her. And the way they celebrated her was giving her the Proper Award. So, with no further ado, I'd love to introduce you all to my friend, Miss Gina Lofton. Hey, girl.
Hey, Lonnie. Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Yes, it is a pleasure, and we've been talking about this for a while. So I'm just happy to join this modern mentoring movement that you started.
Yes, it has turned into a movement, which was a little bit of a surprise. But I'm glad it's turning into a movement because we need to spend more time giving back to others. And I know that's important to you as well.
It is. It is. That's the life's blood, right? To those who much has been given, much is expected, and giving back is just my honor and my privilege.
Yes, absolutely. So let's jump into this important topic we have today. Called is don't worry about that glass ceiling, worry about those sticky floors. And I remember when I first came across the term, you were speaking at Microsoft about the same subject. But one of the things I'd love for you to anchor our guest on before we jump in and you share your pearls of wisdom, explain to them, what is a sticky floor?
The sticky floor is those things that we do in our career, either consciously or unconsciously, that sabotage our success. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about giving visibility and giving you some insight in figuring out if you're doing those things. Because what you're going to find is when you break free from that sticky floor, that glass ceiling does not matter. You are going through it and up. So we have to do the things to stop sabotaging our own success.
A lot of us don't even want to admit it, but we are self-sabotaging ourselves. And if we just deal with those issues that we are blocking ourselves on, we'll find that that glass ceiling is really no longer a threat, huh? We'll
Not a
tap
threat.
it and it'll just automatically
Tap it
break.
and it just shatters away.
It shatters away. So, what's the one thing you would leave with everyone that you would want them to remember to avoid the sticky floor syndrome? What would be the one thing you would have them remember?
I'd say the one thing is about taking strategic risks.
Okay.
Nothing is going to be easy. When you have big hopes and dreams, you really have to lean into being courageous in the pursuit of them. And so taking strategic risk and let me tell you, risk is a thing. And so failure is going to be a part of the journey. So embrace that. Embrace the fact that you're going to learn some things, fail fast, get up and get moving. And so, what I tell people is you want to have that journey that is not smooth. You want to have the journey where you have to learn something and overcome something so you can be resilient. And when you get to those failures, apply it the next time and keep going.
That's powerful because so many people are afraid to fail. Why is that, Gina? Why do you think we're so afraid of failure?
I think because people think about failure and they start taking it personally.
Yeah.
You're not a failure.
Right.
The thing you tried wasn't successful.
Right.
It doesn't make you a failure.
Right.
That just means you've learned something. You learn, hey, you may not be good at that. So you need to go and do some learning. Or you may have found that's not your passion. Maybe you need to try something else. A couple of times early in my career, I started my career as an electrical engineer. And I learned early on, while I was good in engineering and good in research, I was great at consulting. Yeah. And so being able to do those things and not being wildly successful at them, but successful enough to have that credibility to now, and then that courage to go do something else. Just, I want you to lean into that. Take that strategic risk. Don't stay in the safe zone because that's the sticky floor. Staying safe is keeping you from being successful.
You said a mouthful on that one. Because how many of us play safe because this is the known, right? Yep. And said differently, some people would say, this is the known devil over here. I don't know what's going to be over there. You know all about that. You've taken some big risks. I know that I've tried to take some big risks in my career as well. So talk to them a little bit about not playing it safe. Right.
One of the things, I joined Microsoft a little less than 2 years ago after spending 27 years at a place that was my home since I was 19 years old. And so it was a big risk, right? I had gotten all the hard work of getting great sponsors and all of the work and having navigated a career, and certainly could have stayed there and finished my career there quite successfully. But Microsoft came calling. I talked to some great people. I had to count on the fact that what I brought to the table was unique and differentiated and special, and that I could do that anywhere. The magic wasn't the company I was in. The magic was me. And so I had to be confident that I was going to go and be successful in a new place. I was going to find my way. I was going to go out and discover in this new place and learn all of those lessons and apply all those lessons that I had learned in the first part of my career. And so I came over as the services CTO. And then last July, I became the MSUS CTO. And so, hey, I guess the magic is me.
The magic is you. Something else that you said that I think it's important for everyone to hear is that, one, do not be afraid to make mistakes. The fact that you said you were a really good engineer, but you were a great consultant. I also believe that even our failures or the things that we didn't do as well, that's all part of the journey. That's all part of the learning. You need those experiences to prepare you for the doors that you need to walk through next, right? Because even though you felt like you were just a good engineer, think about how you've had to rely on that experience and that education to help you solve more difficult problems. And the other thing that I absolutely love that you said is when you talk about just be willing to take some risks. It's okay. You don't know what the end game is. The thing you got to realize is you're the secret sauce. You
You're
the
the secret
magic. You're the
You're
one.
the magic. And you know that leaning in and taking risk was all a part about building my reputation, right? And that's the important piece of it. You want to be able to build a reputation that you're going to stand on. It's going to yield dividends throughout your career. It's going to remind people of who you are. And because I was able to be strong in technology and strong in engineering and research, when I went over to consulting and could do that very well and articulate that well in the C-suite, that differentiated me, right?
Okay.
I wasn't just a technologist. I understood how that technology could accelerate businesses. And so I would have never known that if I hadn't taken the risk to leave home, the technical world, and go into consulting. And it was really supposed to be a 1-year assignment. And, you know, I stayed for about 15 years. So
Wow. That
glad
is so
to do
awesome.
that.
Yeah, but you talk about the reputation. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people say, and I'm sure you do as well, they all want to figure out how they can do a job only for 6 to 12 months and then move on to the next thing. There are sometimes events happen that force you into those decisions, but for the most part, we all need time to build a track record, right?
Yep.
And to learn the new job. And I think that's also part of building a strong reputation. I know one of the things I've appreciated about knowing you is the fact that you do have a deep understanding of the technical acumen to support the business acumen. There are
Yep.
some people that call themselves technologists but can't go very deep, and you can. So, but a lot of people want to race through the career and not build the expertise or the track record to support them. Do you have a point of view on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to stay long enough to deliver an impact,
That's
because
right.
people are not going to just remember that you sat in a role with a title. They're going to
Yeah.
remember the impact that you delivered, and that being able to deliver an impact in multiple areas, or it's going to create a reputation about giving you anything. So
Right.
what I love about the opportunities that I got in doing multiple things in my career is that I defined for myself a path that says, hey, if there's something hard and we don't know what it is yet, and we need a leader to figure that out, we give that to Gina. She knows how to start something. She knows how to land that well in the marketplace. She knows how to make that successful for our customers. And so
Mhm.
I love that I get to lean on that reputation that I built. But if I wasn't delivering any impact,
There you
then,
go.
you know, it was just a woman that did a lot of stuff in her career. So the impact is really going to define that reputation. And I tell people, you want to build the reputation you want to precede you. I'm always excited when I go into a room and somebody says, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
Or going to a customer and they said, I remember you. You helped us. Or nothing excites me more than getting a call from a customer many years later and said, hey, I'm in a new place and we got a tough problem that I need to talk through with somebody, and I thought of you.
Oh,
That's about the reputation that you want to build. And again, it pays dividends throughout your career.
yeah. And it doesn't happen overnight, people. That's the thing that I want people to understand. It does not happen overnight. This takes time.
You got to
So
invest.
let's talk about it. You and I both know there's rules to this, right? So what's the tip you would share them around the rules?
Well, you know, there's some things that I say, and we said this doesn't happen overnight, and you want to invest. You got to learn the rules of the game, and don't pretend it's some rules to this,
Yeah.
right? You got to learn the rules of the game. You got to learn how to negotiate, and then you got to learn how to advocate for yourself.
Mm.
So
Stop
as
right
you're
there.
working
Hold
through
on.
that,
Hold
yeah,
on. Hold on. Hold on. Say that one more time, that last part.
you got to learn how to advocate for yourself.
We don't do that enough.
No, we don't.
No.
People always say, hey, how do I get a mentor or a sponsor? Or how do I get, somebody's going to help me navigate this career? The number one thing that I say start with, you got to advocate for yourself. If you want a mentor or a sponsor, you got to put in the work and let the world know how amazing you are.
Hello.
Don't make them do the work and finding that out. You have to advocate for yourself. This is what I bring to the table. This is why I deserve your time and your sponsorship and your support. This is what I'm willing to do to make it easy for you to go into this room and talk about me today as being ready for this job, right? And so be confident and advocate for yourself.
Absolutely. So let's talk about why people struggle to advocate for themselves and to talk about their accolades. I know personally for me, it stems from childhood.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Dallas, a little girl, very Christian family, and it was not, I was told bragging was a bad thing, right?
Yep.
And I was told little girls are seen and not heard, right? So all of that stuff became part of my DNA that I had to reprogram myself on. And sometimes I can be so focused on doing the work that I still forget to advocate for myself.
Yep.
But it's that constant reminder for you. What have been some of those things for you that have blocked you from being able to advocate for yourself?
Yeah, one of the things, I grew up in with my grandparents in the church that my great grandfather built, right? And one of the things, you don't brag, you don't boast, you don't try to draw attention to yourself. And if it's meant for you, then it'll happen. So you grow up thinking magically, just do the good work. And then all of these accolades are just going to shine on you because it's the right thing to do. But we don't. Then we join corporate America. And you said, well, I did this great work. Why isn't the promotion coming? Or I did this great work. Why am I not getting a raise? Right. Or why do I even have to talk about why I took on this new job and it didn't come with a promotion or a raise? It's just new scope and new responsibility at my same level.
And let's add one more to that. Why is it that someone who's done less work, spent less time, they're getting promoted and I'm still sitting here at the same level? What's wrong here?
So you got to have a voice. You got to negotiate. You got to advocate for yourself. That's you. And if it's not comfortable for you, if you didn't grow up doing that, you got to practice. Guess what? None of us just come in this. You get to see this, Lonnie and I, all these years later, the polish is on, the journey is 20 plus years in. There's a lot of work in there, and there's a lot of practice that goes along with figuring out, how do I have a voice? How do I make sure I stay in having my voice be heard? And most importantly, if I'm not my number one cheerleader, how can I expect to get other cheerleaders?
Hello. Now you need to pause right there and let other people, let that sink in. You all hear that. If you are not your best cheerleader, then what would anybody else be?
That's right. I had a conversation with some young women in New York, and I said sometimes we have a hard time tooting our own horn. And I said, I learned through the years, I'm not just tooting my own horn, I'm bringing the whole band. I deserve a band for the work that I do. And so you gotta get comfortable tooting your own horn, bringing your own band, whatever you need to get yourself comfortable with saying, this is the work that I've done. This is why I deserve to be here. These are the things that are going to keep me and retain me. This is what I deserve. And somebody, was saying, how do you get over the fear? You get over the fear by saying, and by believing, that's what you deserve.
That's what you deserve.
That's what you deserve.
And I think Lori even said she's learned that she has to take time to connect the dots. I think I heard someone say it's not bragging when it's the truth.
Right.
So tell the truth, tell the truth, and
Tell the
connect
truth.
those dots, Lori. That's a great point. But let's also talk about on those days, and I know you and I both have experienced them, where even though we do all the things you've already talked about, you still have those bad days, right?
Mhm.
And we know how important it is to have a support system. Why don't you tell everybody about the importance of a support system?
Look, you have to have, sometimes people have that in their family. Sometimes they get to come home to people who are going to lift them up. I have the opportunity to have some of the best girlfriends in the world. Lonnie is one of them. I was like, listen, I call you and I say, listen, I need a minute. I need I need a minute to talk. Yeah. I need to share with you what happened today. These people are crazy. They don't know how wonderful I am, or maybe I didn't remind them enough. But you have somebody that you can be completely real with, that you
Yes.
can share with them that this something that happened today, and I need to just have you hear me, have
Hmm.
you see me, have
Hmm.
you feel what I'm feeling,
Hmm.
and help me through it, right? To know that we need some support. And I just have been honored to have some of the most amazing support system around me, and people I can just call and pick up the phone. And what I encourage is, look, if you don't have that, get it.
Ooh, I have to tell you, I have to pause for a moment and brag on you because I remember one evening, and you're going to remember this and you're going to giggle. We're going to keep part of the story to ourselves.
Yeah, they don't need to hear everything.
But I had to call Gina because I was having a bad day. And I remember literally, if we could take off this mask and we take our hair and pull it back in a ponytail and pull off the glasses, I had one of them moments.
Yes, yes.
And I think we talked a good hour plus. And I remember from that conversation, I felt so validated because I felt like I was heard. And I felt like it was someone who could feel me for what I was going through. But more than anything, what I appreciated is that you were speaking life into me and you
Mm,
were reminding me of my own brilliance that I may
yeah.
have momentarily forgotten.
Yes, and don't let them do that to you. I remember having this conversation and saying, "Wait, wait, don't let them do that. No, that's not you." Yeah, just because they forgot for a moment, don't you forget.
I love that.
You forget.
That. I
Yes.
love that. And I think for people out there, it was important that you hear that truth because I don't care what your title is. We all have good days and we have bad days. You heard us during the last Modern Mentoring talk about resilience. It's about how do we recover quickly and leveraging the people around us to love on us, support us, and encourage us. And I just know that Gina and I have been that for each other. And it was important that you see what it really looks like. And I wanted to share with you personally. But let's also talk about the importance of confidence as you think
Mhm.
about that sticky floor and avoiding it.
Yeah, one of the things, in terms of the confidence, and that comes over time, right? I'm not this lady that you see here, all poised and confident. She knows she can do it all.
Oh
that
yeah,
that wasn't
you
Gina
were
in
born
her
like
20s.
that,
Yeah, that wasn't Gina in her 20s. That wasn't even Gina in her 30s, right? I still was figuring out. I had to figure out who I was,
right?
because the journey to confidence for me was figuring out who I am
Mhm.
and being able to show up as me all the time,
Right.
right? And so you can't be confident if you're trying to be one person here and one person there. You got to lean into who you are, be okay with that, and bring that to every occasion.
Yeah.
And in that way, you deserve to be in the room.
And
Everybody
take up
keeps
some space
asking
when you
me,
get there.
people ask me, what is it like to be the only? And I know there's a lot of fear with that still. But, You deserve to be in that room. And being the only just means you're a trailblazer, but it's an important piece of that. The confidence to stand there, sit at the table. I deserve to be here. And in fact, I'm going to hold the door open until the other ones who deserve to be here get here too.
Now you said a mouthful, and more people need to hold that door open.
We need to hold the door open. Because
Yeah.
we know how hard it was to get there. We know how hard it was to get in the meeting, get at the table, get the job. And so there's people who need that opportunity, and they need us to hold the door open and say, hey, I'm not the only one that deserves to be here. And also making a space for them and making them a space to show up as themselves, because we know that's what that's what confidence requires, to be able to show up as yourself.
Yes. As you know, I had a couple conversations today because one of them was a friend of yours. And I remember sharing with them both. They were both early in their career journey at Microsoft. And I talked to them about learning the winning formula. I said, but as you learn how others have been successful at the job, this was the key piece for me. I say, do it your way. Because see, we don't want a carbon copy. We want you to be uniquely different, but just understand what success looks like, but you do it your own unique way. And I think if more people practice that, just standing in that confidence and recognizing their brilliance and just continuing to just stand in that and surround themselves with people that continue to feed that part of them, I just think we'll have a different experience. Or the next generation that follows behind us, Gina, they will go further, and hopefully they will leave the door open. They won't have to worry about answering questions like, what is it like to be the only? Because so many of them, they'll be, oh, we got such a diverse team. It's just no big deal. What do you mean? There's no such thing as only anymore. I hope that happens, and I want that to be a reality for the next generation. I know
I do too. I want it to be a reality. And I think we have the responsibility and an opportunity to help make that a reality, right? That we create these inclusive spaces for all of us. You know, it's not just about race or gender, it's inclusivity of all of us, and making sure that we understand and embrace people showing up as themselves. They're not hiding anything. They're not covering anything, because that way, that conversation that we can have is so much more rich. That experience that we can have together, getting to know who that real person is, it creates such a rich, diverse tapestry of innovation in teams that we're doing ourselves an injustice when we don't encourage that.
Absolutely. And you said a mouthful on that one, because it is so true. And I wish more leaders and people recognize, if you focus on the inclusion piece, the rest will be history for you. You'll maintain your diversity. You'll create more innovative teams. You'll come up with more creative solutions, because you're harnessing the collective power of this diverse group. And everyone understands that they are valued for what they uniquely bring. And as leaders, it's our job to bring out the best in the people that we are around every single day. And I tell people, you can do that whether they report to you or not.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Wow. So I know there's 2 more tips you wanted to share. And for those of you that have questions, feel free to get your questions in the chat window. We will have time for them. What about pursuing opportunities? What are some of your thoughts around that?
You know, one of the things, you know, I tell people, just because you're good at something, that doesn't mean that's the thing you're supposed to be doing, right? And so think about opportunities in that way. Know your business, invest and understand your business, because it's important to pursue the right opportunities. Right. If your business has leaders that have P&L responsibility and you never have P&L responsibility, your ability to ascend in that organization is going to be limited. Or if your business is including people and rewards people and recognize people who are highly technical, and you don't understand how to either support them or be that technical person, then you're going to see that you're limited. So understand what's important in your organization and pursue the right opportunities, right? So for me, throughout my career, it was P&L opportunities or technical opportunities or M&A, anything that can bring growth to the business and
Mhm.
success to customers or the ecosystem feels like the right opportunities. And you just have to figure out what that is in your enterprise and then focus on impact, because it's not the titles that are important. It's not the titles people are going to remember. It's the impact that you created that allows you to get the sponsorship to get the next job. And everybody always asks me, how do you secure a sponsor? You get the right opportunities. You do great in those opportunities. You deliver impact consistently. The sponsors will show up.
They will.
Trust me, I'm a witness. I've
Me
seen it
too.
happen.
Uh-huh.
And so focus on that. Focus not so much on, hey, should I do this networking or should I do this? Right opportunities, deliver consistent impact, and then you'll see the sponsorship and the opportunities to do more.
Absolutely. One of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking about where you have skills that are needed to excel within your enterprise, I think is important for people to understand. I think for some reason people think they have to go back and pursue full degrees, whether that's a master's or a PhD. I think that's wonderful. I have a master's myself. But I think a lot of people really forget about the opportunities to just take continuing education courses that
Mhm.
are available at universities, so that if you want to learn how to manage a P&L, or if you want to understand how to navigate mergers and acquisitions, or if you want to deepen your financial acumen, there are courses you can take that are courses that are just over a couple of days. Some may be one day, some may be multiple weeks, that you could use as continuing education to get those skills along the way. And you don't have to invest in a very expensive degreed program. If you want to do that, you can do that. But for those that are trying to navigate and move up and have just missing skills, don't forget about that, because I love the fact that Harvard, Princeton, a lot of those, even Ivy League schools, have continuing education courses that will allow you to strengthen your resume and strengthen your skills as you move forward. So what's the last
Absolutely.
step?
And,
Oh, go
and
ahead.
some of the things that, going back to the first one is lean into strategic risk.
Yeah.
I took my first opportunity to do an M&A, and I had a meeting with the head of our services business, and I said, I really want to do this integration, right? I was a part of the due diligence, and I had interviewed with the senior executive team,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be the integration executive. And guess what? I learned on the job.
Hmm.
So take it straight. And one of the conversations he had with me, he says, well, go home and think about it. I think you can do it. But if it fails, then we both might be out of our jobs. And I said, okay, I don't need to go home and think about it, because when I succeed, I'm expecting that promotion. And so I became the integration executive of one of our major services acquisitions. I learned a lot along the way.
Yeah.
And there, I had to study nights and weekends and understand, the business and run it with the acquired CEO. And he taught me a lot about the business. And so, I took a risk. And I
They-
was willing to take that risk because I felt like when I was successful, there would be great reward.
yeah, but guess what else you practice? Confidence. You practice asking for what you want,
Yeah,
right? You said, you know what, this is a strategic risk, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And that's how you continue to be successful in your career.
yeah.
So, what's the one final tip you would share with everyone?
I look, this thing, you're going to spend a lot of time at work. You're going to spend a lot of time at this. Enjoy the journey, because there's so many other things that you could be doing. I'm a fan of enjoying what you do. Enjoy your journey. Invest in, and also knowing that it's a journey, these roads get windy. Don't be afraid to change the course. I've been a lot of things in my career. I've been an engineer. I've been a researcher. I've been a consultant. I've been a sales leader, M&A executive. Don't be afraid to change course. Just lean into it, enjoy it, learn something new, and definitely take these lessons to heed and lean into it.
I can't stress to you how important it is for everyone to hear, enjoy the journey. Don't get so locked into one plan that you think this is the way it has to go. Be open to having some detours, right? And
Yeah.
trying new experiences out, or you'll never, I don't think you'll ever really be able to realize your full potential if you don't.
And enjoying the journey also means a little bit, sometimes along the way, you got to take a step back. And you mentioned detours. I took a leave of absence for 9 months because I needed to focus on me and my health and my happiness, and then come back refreshed. So the journey this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you got to take some breaks, and you got to take some detours. You got to say, hey, maybe I'll do this for a while. Oh, now I'm renewed. I want to go take a new path. So just enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, you and I were talking earlier. Remember, I was telling you about a conversation I had this morning with a group of ladies, just trying to, how do we keep more women in the workplace? And one of the things that, as I was doing research for the discussion, I acknowledge that a lot of people I know, even personally myself, I even found myself during this pandemic saying, is this the course I want to be on? Or do I want to take a different course? And I think a lot of people right now, when you think about the pandemic, they're thinking about, is this really what I want to be doing? Does this bring me joy? Or do I want to take a different path?
Yeah.
And I want to encourage people to lean into those questions that you're having about yourself or your career, and use it as an opportunity to reflect and to go back to dreaming again. Because how many of us have stopped dreaming and
Woo.
dust off some of those dreams that you said you always wanted and just try them?
Don't stop dreaming. Listen, even though I have the privilege of having my STEM dreams come true, I'm not stop dreaming. There's gonna be a next phase and a next phase.
I can't wait.
I'm excited about the future.
I can't wait. But the fact that you have so much optimism and excitement about the future, I think people need to lean into that, because I think they get so wrapped up into this thing called life, or this job that produces X amount of money to take care of their responsibility, that they forget that this is all a journey and you might as well have a little fun along the way.
You definitely got to have some fun along the way.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing those tips. Let's see if we have any questions out there. So, do you have any questions or comments out there? Let's see. I'm looking at the screen. You can see the comments, can't you, Gina, in the chat?
Yeah, I can see a couple of these.
Not
Yeah.
a sprint, it's a marathon. Hi, Shani. Thanks for joining. Perspective is everything. Gio said that. And then we had John Paul. The key difference between mentors and sponsors is that mentors give advice while sponsors actively seek to provide opportunities. Intentional sponsorship is where existing leaders are paired with a diverse employee of the company with leadership potential and takes co-ownership over their career development. Thank you so much, my LinkedIn user who provided that. I love this shift. Hi, Shabam. Glad you're out there. Enjoy your journey. Don't be afraid to change course. Just lean in and learn something new. You already.
I see one. What is the advice I would give my 25-year-old self?
Ooh, Shabam. What would you tell her?
Ooh, because she thought she knew it all. Okay.
You tell me she didn't?
Yes, 25-year-old Nina thought she knew it all. And I would I would tell myself not to take myself so seriously, because
Yeah.
at 25, it felt like everything, the weight of everything was so much, so crushing. And, we talked earlier about a book that I went back to so many times.
Yeah.
One of my favorite authors is Iyanla Van Zant, and it's called The Value in the Valley. I would tell my 25-year-old self, girl, stop. Please get that lesson so you don't keep going back to that valley. Please get out of that valley so we can move on more quickly.
You know,
But
isn't it funny how life shows you keep repeating the same lesson when you don't get it?
don't get it. You don't know everything. Get this lesson so we can move on. That's what I would tell my 25-year-old self.
Oh my gosh. So we also have another question here. Shanisa said, curious of your thoughts on the best way to make an impact or build your brand when joining a new company.
Yeah. I just did that. So, one of the things is, come in, a couple of things. I wanted to come in and listen and learn from my wonderful colleagues, but I also want to come in and share with them that, I have some great ideas to share about how we can be successful together.
Yeah.
So be yourself, show up with everything you've learned, be able to share that, create a space where you and your colleagues can learn together, and create the support system. And one of the things that I always do at a new place, a new company, a new team, is be a support to somebody or help to somebody before you ask for it. So I came in with some great ideas about how to help someone else be successful, even if it didn't apply to my metrics, and figuring out how to help someone else be successful with something knowledge or something that you can share, because you're building up credibility with them and you're getting, coins in the bank to use later. Right. So when you come up to a new organization, you really want to show your worth. You want to build a strong network and team, and you want to show you're a great colleague who is going to help them be successful, and before you have to ask them to help you be successful.
You said a mouthful there. So one of the things that I took from what you just said that I don't think people practice enough is they come in with a lot of expectations of what they're expecting people to do for them. But what you just shared is be willing to give first before you expect to receive.
Absolutely.
That is powerful, because a lot of people come in as a new person expecting everyone to show up for them. But maybe if you try showing up for other people and offering to assist and support, then they'll be more willing to do the same for you. And you're building up that political capital and that social capital that you need on your team. And I think that's wonderful, wonderful advice.
And one of the key things as I took over a new team, I wanted to show them what it meant to me to be a servant leader. And so it was important to me to show up for my team, understand what aspirations they had, understand how I can help them achieve their goals, help them continue with their career acceleration, even though I was their new leader, and figuring out how we move forward together. I feel like my position in leadership is a privilege to me, and it's about how I serve my teams, and that's an important part of my brand. Because the other part of that question about establishing your brand, my brand is as a servant leader, and I am here to help you on your journey and help us move forward together as a team.
Oh, I love that. And I'm looking at the comments. Leslie says, wow, that advice reminds me of what my mom says. The more you give, the more you receive. Isn't it amazing?
Love those mamas.
Yeah, mamas, you gotta
love those mamas.
But the simplest advice we've gotten as children are the guiding principles that carry us as adults,
Yeah.
So we have a question here from Erica. How did you learn to embrace?
Hi, Erica. Oh my goodness. Erica's a longtime friend of mine. Hi, Erica.
Erica. Welcome.
how do I learn to embrace risk taking is to
Yeah.
be able to step out. I'll share a little thing, and those with kids, they will be a little worried about that. Is I bought a car and I drove to California one summer. And I told my parents I was going to my grandparents. I told my grandparents I was going to my parents, and I had gotten a job in California. So I took my $800 car and drove it across the country. And I called them from the LA Marriott to say, well, I'm in LA. I'm going to be working here for the summer. How I learned to take risk is my mom encouraged me to step out. She always encouraged me to go out and do things that were different or unique or challenge me to learn something new. And so, when I called her from the LA Marriott, and she says, "What, you where?" I said, "Well, Mom, I'm just doing what you taught me to do." I reached out. They gave me a job. I'm going on this adventure for the summer. I'm going to come back with all this work experience. Aren't you proud? And and so it was just for me, that journey from there is just to being able to have a supportive home base that encouraged me to do something different and unique, and knowing that if it didn't work, I got somewhere soft to land.
Yeah.
That encourages you to go out and do new things when you have that safety at home.
You had an incredible mother. And look at what she brought to life here. And look at the incredible things you've been able to do because she taught you that. But I'm going to ask the question that everybody's thinking. What car did you find for $100?
It was $800. It was $800. It was a 1978 Volkswagen Rabbit. And let me tell you the other part of the story. It didn't make it back to the East Coast. It only had one trip in it.
A car that got $800 may not make it back.
It did not make it back.
But you know what? You got a great story to tell.
I had a great story. I had a great summer, but it didn't make it back.
I love it. I know we're running out of time here, so I've got two questions that I think the audience would enjoy hearing from you to get to know you at a more personal level. I get a chance to do that all the time. So my first question is, what's the one lesson that took you the longest to learn in life?
The power of saying no. I was, with your family, with your friends, you take on too much. And it took me a long time to learn that saying no and valuing my time and my energy is important. And I struggled with that a long time. And I still struggle with that today because I'm a giver. Like, we givers want to say yes to everything. But that is very hard. And so that was one of the most difficult lessons I learned, is taking on that. But you learn that, and you learn to be able to balance that better so that you can take care of yourself and show up as your best self because you haven't taken on too much.
Yeah. And I heard someone, I think it was a friend of mine, that says no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
No. No, not doing that. So I can appreciate that, and I agree, and you're not alone. I think I struggle with it at times. I make sure I have the right people around me to help me set proper boundaries so that I can give to all the areas of my life. But you're right, saying no is tough when you love to give. Yeah. So my last question for you, Miss Gina, is if you could have one do-over, professionally or in life, what would it be?
Yeah. That journey that 25-year-old girl took in building her career, I missed a lot of birthdays and family reunions and time. I lost my mom in 1999, so I was just about 7 years into my career. If I had a do-over, I would spend a lot more time with her because I thought we had a future. I thought she would be here now saying, "Mom, look, look at what the journey held for us," because it was always us. So the one do-over I would have is, spend more and more time just being a part of that unconditional love and, being more in her space, learning from her grace and wisdom, and just being a mama's girl, because she was my hero and she continues to be my hero.
Oh, and she created one incredible woman. So I'm really sorry to hear about your mom. I know you and I share that, and I don't care when you lost your mom. That's one that you carry with you forever. So I want you to know that I stand with you through that. So thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your story. So I want to give you a few minutes if you want to say anything to the audience. I think you've shared so many pearls of wisdom. You can go through the 6 tips if you want. It's up to you how you want to use your last few minutes. We have like 4 minutes before I wrap, and then I'll close.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that I can go through the 6 tips, just reminding, because I think it's number one is important. I'll go back there. Take strategic risks. This is about leaning in. If your dream isn't big enough for you to take strategic risks, then it probably isn't a real dream, right? So lean into that. And develop the reputation that you want to precede you, because that is going to yield dividends throughout your life and your career. Learn the rules of the game, because there are rules.
Yes, there are.
Learn to negotiate and
Yes.
learn to advocate for yourself. Be
Absolutely.
confident, because you deserve to be in that room. But
Yes.
when you get in that room, it's also your responsibility to hold the door open.
Yes. Yes.
And pursue the right opportunities, deliver an impact,
Yes.
and that way you can get the sponsorship to help you accelerate your success, and then enjoy the journey. Life is way too short not to be enjoying what you do.
Yes. And remember what we said. If you practice these things, you'll avoid that sticky floor and you'll realize
And shatter that glass ceiling.
glass ceiling. The threat is that sticky floor, right?
Threat is that sticky floor.
Yeah, well, sabotaging yourself. Gina, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of this entire modern mentoring community, I want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for being so authentic and genuine in sharing your tips with this community. I get the pleasure of spending time with you on a regular, and I am delighted to be able to share you with so many more. And I look forward to you doing more great things with your life. I can't wait to see what you do with your future. And I know you have some things that are very personal to you. What's one project that you're so proud of that's near and dear to your heart?
Yeah, look, my babies, everybody that knows me knows my babies. This journey in STEM has changed my life. And so I work with a group of young kids and, take them at 6th grade and go through a program with them until they're seniors, and helping them get into the universities of their choice. Because I believe it's important to help them. Representation matters. So I want them to see all the little Ginas out there, and to see what this journey can be like when you believe in yourself, when you stay with it, and when your dream is so big that nobody is going to take it away from you. And there's no greater joy in my life to see that spark in their eyes when somebody believes in them, and then for the first time they believe that their dream can come true. So I love my STEM programs, and I hope that you have something purpose driven in your life that lights you up as well.
Absolutely. And I am so glad they have you, and I look forward to supporting you as you continue to invest in that area and that important purpose, right, that you have for your life. So I want to thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you, Gina, for sharing with us a lot of pearls of wisdom that we will hold on to and treasure. Thank you for joining. This session was recorded. It will be available here on LinkedIn shortly, and I'll make sure that it's also available on YouTube for you to be able to access. So go out, have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, or night. And I look forward to talking to you on the next Modern Mentoring session. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye.